Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursaleen amma ba'd. فقد قال جل وعلا بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون صدق الله العظيم. My respected brothers, elders and sisters, Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a gathering where we have convened to fulfill an obligation. The way ulum and learning and Islamic ethos work is as you require to face different ibadat, different obligations which come upon your shoulders. It is your personal duty to learn about them. Allah imposes that duty upon us that we must understand all the lawazmat, all the peripherals and all the scope of that particular ibadah in all its form, with all the fiqhi rulings that you would be facing. That way, you don't do a post-problem solution. You don't wait for the problem to occur. Once it has done, and then you go to the ulama, what is the solution for this? This is a preventative measure that you learn from beforehand. You fill yourself up with all the understandings. So then when you are faced with that dilemma, you already know what is to be done. In this regard, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us an opportunity. In the coming week, we will be starting our Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us that ability and enablement to actually see the Ramadan. Even though few days are left, we still do not know how many of us will pass away before we could greet that month, greet that guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't want to go into the historical aspect of the fast. The maqsad over here, those historic aspects, inshallah, as you will go through different khataras, different halaqas, you will be doing those things. I want to utilize our time, which is limited, because I want to keep more time for Q&A, right? More interaction. And I want to go over more basics of our fasting and covering all the integrals beforehand. This is the ayah in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, in a muhkam way, in a very concerted and firm way, has informed us that Ramadan fasting is fard upon us. But the ayah does not talk about fard. It talks about something that is even more severe. Kutiba alaykum as-siyam. Kutiba. This kutiba is, from some of the shuruhat we understand, it's referring to as though it has been written in the Lawh al-Mahfuz. It has been written, and now there is no way back from it. Once something, for example, whenever you have a contract deal or something like that, and you have a pen and you actually do the final signing, and then you smack it just to get that satisfaction, tuck, right? It's done. When the judge, he passes a verdict, he also does that with the gavel. Tuck. Meaning this judgment now cannot be reversed. It cannot be taken back. It is now official. Kutiba alaykum as-siyam. Fast has been prescribed upon you. No way out of it. Anyone who will fulfill the criteria, he has no way he can run away from it. And the beauty of it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to judge fasting himself. Since Allah is going to judge fasting himself, there is not a single one of his creation that can make a justification in it. Oh, I was too sick. Oh, this was too difficult for me. The exams were too much. This and that, and all those justifications that we tell ourselves. We may fool ourselves, but we will not be able to fool Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So which is why we must realize, we must know that since the judgment has been passed, all of these ahkam will take place, we might as well learn them or face the consequence of having some kind of a fine upon us. Right? And that fine, my dear respected friend, there is no appeal in it. You don't say like, oh, once you present yourself in front of the judge, then you can ask him like, reduce the fine. You know, I was actually rushing, or I was doing this, and it was just the fluke of the moment or something like that. No, right? Everything will be finalized, and it's going to be a very, very heavy fine, right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again give us that ability and give us the opportunity of fulfilling all our ahkam to the best of our ability. Another point in this ayah that you should keep in mind is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already informed you that kama kutiba ala allazina min qablikum, meaning this aspect of fasting, holding back from eating, holding back from drinking, or holding back from enjoyment. Right? Now I'm saying enjoyment, what I mean is merrymaking with your spouses. So the youngsters, they don't have that unless you're married. Allah Alam, I don't know. Right? Nowadays anything can happen. Okay, so that aspect, eating, drinking, or having conjugal relationships with your spouse, right? You are holding yourself away from that. You're keeping yourself away from that. This is an imposed restriction. Does it remind you of something else? When we performed the salah and we said Allahu Akbar, we imposed restrictions upon ourselves, right? So this is a link in between the ibadat. Ibadat come to impose restrictions upon you. Min qablikum, the other ummahs before you, they had also gone through it. They had gone through it, their Anbiya went through it, that similar kind of ibadah of Sawm, they had done it as well. So we are the khairul ummah, the best of the ummah, right? And we are among those ummah that will become a means of a witness for all the previous ones. So our concern of fulfilling these ahkam, our desire of fulfilling these ahkam should be top notch, should be of excellence. How will that be achieved if we are not going to consciously make an effort to understand what the ahkam are being laid down upon us? Final thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had mentioned in this ayah was la'allakum tattaqoon. Right? This is the outcome, this is the goal that Allah wants to gain out of this fasting for you. When we stand in salah, if somebody talks, then we tell them, right? Or if your son starts to make any mess, you hold his hand, give him a little bit of a squeeze, so he realizes, oh no, I'm supposed to watch myself, right? He learns from that. What does he learn? That he's standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the time of being complete supervision. So I have to be conscious that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is charting down all my actions while I'm in salah. Same thing happens with your fast. The only thing is, in fast it happens from morning time all the way to the sunset, right? From Subh Sadiq all the way to the sunset. Every moment that you spend, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watchful how you carry yourself out, whether you are going to fulfill your action or you're not going. So it's a training session that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continuously gives us for 30 days, 29-30 days, right? So that we can know how to be conscious of Allah, how we can gain the taqwa of Allah. That's the consciousness, right? Being conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once the Ramadan is lifted, the restricted environment is lifted, now that conscious of Allah should run in your entire life. Even when you are not fasting, you must know that Allah is still watching you. Allah is still taking charge of you. What you are doing, what you are missing out, and everything. And that will help you fulfill your major goal, and that is that you fulfill your ibadah towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, right. While we talk about from the ayah of the Quran the obligation of the fast, let us also look at a couple of instances of importance of fasting from the tongue and the Mubarak words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Three hadiths I have placed it in front of you. First hadith is, all of them are from Bukhari Sharif, so nobody can make any, oh, where are you bringing your hadith from, anything. All of them are from Bukhari Sharif, mashallah. Okay, so the first hadith, adopt it as a qaida kulliya for your life. Kullu hasanatin bi'ashari amthaliha. We all know every good deed that we do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies it tenfold. Okay. Other hadith mentioned again in Bukhari and Muslim Sharif talks about that bi'ashari amthaliha ila 700, 10 to 700. This is on a regular basis. On a regular basis. Do not consider that this is for Ramadan. Under normal times, every good deed that you do depend on your ikhlas, depend on your sincerity. It is either given to you back in 10 times the rewards or up to 700 times rewards. Right? When Ramadan comes, therein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's multiplier increases. But in this hadith, specifically for Sawm, kullu hasanatin bi'ashari amthaliha ila 700 di'afin was-sawmu li. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, fasting is for me. Fasting is for me, wa ana ajzi bihi. Then I will give the jaza for it, because its jaza, its rewards, you cannot calculate it. Its calculation is going to be by me. And keep in mind, when we talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we talk about jaza, then we are not talking about numbers. You're not going to stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take out your report card to show him like, oh, I have so many numbers of good deeds in here. No, it's not going to be that. Every good deed is not only going to be quantity, rather quality as well. Right? So if everybody fasts from this masjid, one fast doesn't mean all of them got the same reward. Depending on how you approach the fast, depending on how you try to achieve that taqwa in yourself throughout the day, that is going to increase your multiplier for your rewards. And it's going to keep on multiplying. It is going to keep on multiplying, because in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's bounties and boons, there is no end limit. Whatever number you can think of, Allah can add an eternity on infinity on top of that. Right? And Allah can provide it without any decrease in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's kingdom. So Allah can keep on providing exponentially to you. Number two, the hadith indicates worldly aspect. We sometimes feel that the fasting has some material negativities attached to us. For example, we say, if you're fasting, don't you understand? Your mouth is smelling now, so stay away from me. We tend to have that kind of an idea about when somebody has not brushed, not done miswak and everything. And same thing happens in fasting as well. After all, Subha Sadiq, he had the suhoor, he ate something at that time, and particles of that may still be in the mouth, and they have to rot, they have to digest in the mouth, right? So they create the smell, and it's fine, it's normal. Similarly, your gums, they excrete out juices and everything throughout the day, and your saliva gets older and everything. You feel that there is some odor to it. It's tab'an. Tab'an, you feel, by nature you feel a little bit, it's a little bit foul smell. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, understanding that psychology, preemptively mentions, Walladhi nafsi biyadi. This is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's word, that by the being in whose hands is my life. وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِي لَخَلُوفُ فَمِ الصَّائِمِ أَطْيَبُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ مِنْ رِيحِ الْمِسْكِ. By the qasam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that odor that you do not like, you may find it a bit offensive if somebody were to yawn in the salah right next to you, and then now you're feeling, oh, what's that whiff, right, during the fasting time. You may find it offensive, but know that for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that odor is more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than even the musk smell. MashaAllah, we apply nice musk and oud and all these different fragrances, and then we come to the masjid, right? So automatically Allah is generating a fragrance in the Sa'im, right? We may not perceive it because we are living in this realm. I often explain to my students that, when you do any kind of a bad deed, when you lie, right? When you say a lie, automatically that bad deed transforms into a bad odor, and the malaika, the angels of rahmah that are around you, they run away. They run away from you. We cannot see these impressions, but these impressions are there, right? Similarly, we may perceive the odor of the person who is fasting to be a little bit foul, but the malaika, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has indicated over here, it is more beloved to Allah, this indicates that it actually emits a fragrance and not a smell. It's a fragrance which the malaika come close to. So when you are fasting, you are within that company of the malaika encircling you, because you are fasting lillah. You're fasting for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Number 3. Nabi Pak sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentions, Inna fil jannati baban. Indeed, for the Jannah there is a gate. There are many gates. There are eight main gates. One of the gates. Inna fil Jannah baban. Yuqalu lahu ar-Rayyan. Right? It is called Rayyan. It is a specific one. It's a specific gate and specific way to go through. If any of you have gone back home, many of the main cities, they are built in such a way that they have special babs. Right? They have special gates. In order to enter into the city, you need to go through one of the babs. But sometimes, depending on some of the demographic or area, one of those babs, one of those gates could be military gate. Right? So a civilian cannot go through that, because they may have some sentries, or they may have some kind of warehouses or something like that for military purposes over there. Right? So they would be specified only for specific individuals. Similarly, Jannah, the way it has been built, 8 babs have been made onto it. 8 gates have been made, and one of the gate has been stipulated as Rayyan, perhaps because of what is right adjacent inside the Jannah over there. Right? Special treats. Right? Special goodness over there. Perhaps because of that. Now, this Rayyan, yadkhulu minhu sa'imun. Who are going to enter into this gate? Only the ones who are fasting. The one who fast. Okay. Normally when we say as-sa'imun, a person who fasted only one day in his entire life, can he call himself a sa'imun among the sa'imun? No. Right? Technically, yes, because he fasted. Right? And we hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he will be among those as well, that at least he fasted for that one day. But generally, when this alif lam with the sa'imun is entered, it means that the person has acquired the quality of fasting regularly. Right? In our case, if we are talking about Ramadan, as soon as Ramadan comes, he is completely in the mode that I'm not going to leave my fast of Ramadan no matter what. I'm going to take the full benefit of my Ramadan fast. And he always fasts. Right? We will talk about some of the cases where a person may feel that he has an excuse for not fasting, and yet he may choose still to fast because he doesn't want to lose the rewards for the Ramadan itself. Right? So these are the individuals who have joined themselves with the fasting. Whenever they have the opportunity of fasting, they leap onto it and they do fast. Right? This is the same indication we mentioned before on this in this masjid as well, when we talk about people of Quran, Ahlul Quran. Right? Ahlul Quran. Just by holding the Quran, you become Ahlul Quran. No. What it really means is a person who has attached himself to the Quran, such that the Quran also sees him as his friend. And he is now part of the Quran. So these Sa'imun are those who have adopted Siyam as their regular practice for themselves. Now they will enter in, from this gate Yawm al-Qiyamah, on the day of judgment. La yadkhulu minhu ahadun ghayrahum, such that no one else is going to enter from this gate. Right? No one else will be given the entry. This is a VIP entry only for those people who have fasted regularly in their life and everything. They will be given the entry in there. And as I said, this is an indication that Allah has kept something specific over there in the Jannah for these Sa'imun. Because we have already know that only Allah is giving the jaza for the fasting. So That something only Allah is giving is something over there. May Allah Ta'ala make us all from among those who are going to enter into Jannah with this gate. Okay, now inshallah, let's start with some of the basics. Who must fast? By now, looking at just those few ahadith, a person would say like, no, I'm fasting whether it's wajib on me or whether it's fard on me or not, right? Inshallah, go for it, no problem, right? Some of our children, they will be fasting 2 fasts in a day, right? So they'll be getting double the rewards. But all the adults, as soon as you go into the adulthood, that combination is gone. You cannot do that. You cannot get double the rewards. You have to do one whole one to get those multiple rewards. Okay, right? So what do you need to be? Obviously, you need to be a Muslim, right? You need to be in the state of Islam. Always consciously keep on assessing yourself. Am I a Muslim? Right? Am I a Muslim? Because obviously none of us doubt ourselves to be in our Islam, but from the real aspect of am I subjugating to all the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Am I actually submitting myself as a Muslim or not? Right? That's where the whole inshallah depth comes in. So always when you keep on assessing whether I'm a Muslim or not, it will help you understand that no, okay, the ibadah that I'm about to perform, it's because I'm a Muslim to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well, right? So you have to be a Muslim in order to be able to fast, which means a non-Muslim, his fast is not a fast, right? So now all the poor people who don't have the iman and they are saying like, oh, we're gonna fast with our Muslim friends, right? They will not get the real benefit of it. The only benefit they are getting is what the dietary benefit of this fasting is going to be. That's the only thing they're enjoying. And believe me, even in that aspect, they are saying, oh, there are a lot of advantages. They accept, no, oh, yes, fasting one day after the other, you feel a cleanse. Right, you feel a cleanse and everything, but that's the only dietary benefit they're finding out from it. In reality, they're not getting the real spiritual benefit out of it. Right, they may perceive that, oh, our thoughts are clear, right, I'm able to focus more, but that's not spirituality. That's simply your brain actually detoxing from all the extra activity that it was doing, because its stomach was full, so now it needs to find other activity to do. Right, so that's a detox. In reality, understand, when we fast as a Muslim, because of our iman, right, suddenly the fast loses its difficulty upon us. Don't you see that even 17, 18 hours of fast, we fast, but we don't lose our energy after 2-3 days. It starts to keep on increasing. Slowly, we still want to come and stand in the Taraweeh for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, no problem. And those blessed enough from among us, even after that, they stand up for the nightly tahajjud as well, right? And then they recite the Quran as well. And then they go ahead and do it in the daytime. They don't limit away the regular work that they do, right? Not unlike us, man. We make everything nighttime. Then in the daytime we sleep away, right? But we have flexible working hours. That's why we can do. Some of us can do that. Not everybody does that. Ask the people who are driving trucks. They don't lose out on their fasting. They're still driving, right? Ask those who are working in oil fields. They don't have any short back or anything like that. They're still struggling and they do it, right? Only once in a few times when I have received questions that it can become really difficult. So I come to the last instance of that I am about to faint, right? Then they may break the fast. No sin occurred over there, right? But generally, none of us, alhamdulillah, feel that kind of a pressure that we must throw away the fasting altogether. Alhamdulillah, this is because our iman is backing the fast. Right? There is a spiritual aspect to it which the non-Muslims don't have. Second is, you have to be sane, right? Sane as in sanity or insanity, right? You have to be sane, meaning you have to be in your senses. You have to know what you are doing. You have to be conscious. You have to know what's happening. Then that is a normal sanity. If a person is majnoon, he doesn't know what's happening, then he's marful qalam. He doesn't have any fast on top of him. He doesn't have to carry that out, right? And third thing is adulthood, being baligh, being mature, meaning you have had your puberty, okay? And we are not talking about 18 years. We're talking about biological puberty. Right, that your body has informed you that now you are a baligh. So these are the core conditions that need to be fulfilled before you can say that a person, the obligation of fast will come upon such an individual. He needs to be a Muslim, he needs to be sane, he needs to be adult, right? And this, if any one of these conditions are not found in a person between the Fajr and the midday, right? Between the Fajr and the midday on the day of Ramadan, he or she is not liable to perform the fast of that day, right? A person is Muslim and an adult, but he lost his senses, right? In between, he lost his senses. So the obligation is not going to rest on him. Similarly, they won't be sinful for not performing the fast because the obligation never came upon them in order to fulfill it, right? And following Ramadan, they will not have to make any qadha for it as well, right? Because that taklif or the imposition never came about, right? But this is how obligation is going to come upon you. You still have some other requirements you need to look at as well. What's the eligibility, or how would you know that you are eligible to fast? Because there are going to be some dispensation where you have a rukhsah, you have a leeway that you don't need to fast. Once the previous conditions are met, the obligation rests on four requirements. The first one is that you are able and healthy. You are not sick, right? And sickness to such a level that you're not able to undertake the fast. Mustn't be like that, oh, I nicked myself with a knife, so I can't fast, I'm sick, right? No, it has to be a genuine sickness that prevents you from taking upon the fasting in itself, right? So a mere headache is not sufficient enough to give you that rukhsah, but a severe migraine may, where you are losing consciousness because of the migraine, right? So every aspect you will have to see where it is leading you towards such a level. When you keep fasting, your sickness is going to deteriorate. It's going to get worse, right? So then in that case, you will see what is required. If at the time of starting the fast your condition is like that, then you will be given excuse. You don't have to fast. But if you're already fasting, you don't break the fast right away. You wait for the last moment. Who knows, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the courage to reach the iftar, and then you will break the fast properly. And then you can have your medication and everything. But if there is a sense that you will actually start to lose out, break the fast and take the medication, there will be only qadha and there will be no kaffarah, inshallah. Second thing is, for the ladies, no menses, right? No haid. Their monthly cycles. If a woman is in a monthly cycle, then she doesn't fast, okay? She will be making qadha later on. No nifas. After having a baby, the bleeding that comes afterwards, nifas, she should be free from that as well. If she's in the state of nifas, then she doesn't have to fast, okay? And finally, not a musafir. That meaning you are in your town, you're in a hadar, you're a muqim, right? If you're a musafir, then the dispensation is there. Again, if you are a musafir at the time of the suhoor, okay, then fine. But if you are leaving later on in the day, then you need to start the fast, right? Because at that time you were not musafir when the fast started. So you're going to start like that. If that fast in the safar becomes really difficult upon you, that you fear that you're going to lose consciousness, or you're going to lose, there's going to be harm or something, then because of that you will break the fast. But only qadha will be wajib and not kaffarah. Okay? Right. So a sick person as well as a traveler, as well as a traveler may still fast despite the excuses there. Right, you are traveling, but you are traveling, mashallah, by air, there's no real harm or anything like that, and you're traveling for in the comfort, like maybe mashallah you're affluent and you're traveling in first class, right? So all you are doing is just chilling down and sleeping. But no, I'm a musafir, so I'm not going to fast, right? No, fast away, right? You can fast, no problem. But and the same for a sick person who can endure it, he can fast, no problem, right? However, don't overindulge in your severe sickness, because we don't want to reach the place where you actually do harm yourself because of the fast, right? And always have a couple of doctors in your close connections, just so that you can have a good communication. And when we say doctors, we don't mean your regular doctors, we mean Muslim doctors who have general understanding of what is important for a Muslim, right? You ask any non-Muslim doctor, he's going to say, well, no, don't fast. Any sickness, they're going to don't fast, because it's not important for them, right? You ask a Muslim person, he'll say, like, your condition is such that you can still fast, don't worry, it's not going to deteriorate so much, right? You don't lose out on the rewards of Ramadan fast, right? So this is why we say you have to seek out a Muslim doctor rather than a non-Muslim doctor. If Muslim doctors and experts are not present, then we can rely on the non-Muslim experts, but multiple one of them, for second opinion or everything like that. The other two categories, the women in hayd and nifas, they must not fast. They are not in a condition that they can fast, right? So they must make their fast later on. Now, going through it, moonsighting, we're not going to do a complete discussion on it, although it requires a complete separate sitting and separate understanding of how the moonsighting works and everything. But alhamdulillah, ummah of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has been sighting hilal without any interruption. We have always sighted hilal, and our fast, they begin with the sighting of the hilal. We also, even in Edmonton, at multiple times, we have gone out to sight the crescent for Ramadan as well, right? However, our situation, our position geographically is such that we don't get to see it, right? So we have to not only do our due diligence of fulfilling the sunnah of trying to sight it, you can fulfill that sunnah over here as well, right? When it's time, Tuesday evening, you should be sighting for the moon. Go out, try to look for it, even if it's cloudy, try to look for it, right? At least in the books, in the registers, it will be written, so and so try to sight the moon, try to fulfill the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at least get the reward out of it, right? So we normally do not get to see it, so we look around all the different areas from different locations as well. Historically, we have found, we have CHC, which is a US based sightings, Central Hilal Committee. They have almost multiple locations, almost like more than 20 or 25 different locations throughout US, as well as Hawaii and everyone, where they actually sight the moon, right? And once the sighting is done, they conduct full shahada, they conduct a relaying of that shahada over to their central body to give a uniform announcement for that. So we have found them to be very reliable in the past few years when we have been monitoring for Edmonton's sake, right? So inshallah, we will be looking for that on Tuesday. If we sight it, there is no chance of sighting, but if we sight it, then Tuesday would be the first Taraweeh, or otherwise Wednesday would be the first Taraweeh. Okay. When you are starting now the fast, let's start our fast. Intention is obligatory. We have to make intention, right? And intention can be made, the earliest the intention can be made for the fast is from the sunset of the previous day, right? Sunset of the previous day. The latest the intention for a Ramadan fast that you can make is until the midday, right? Dahwat al-Kubra, right? This is not the Zawal, rather a little before that. Okay, so until Dahwat al-Kubra, make your intention. If you have made the intention, your fast is fine. Normally, we are not conscious when we are making, when we're going through Ramadan. It is automatically understood like, oh, I'll be fasting, right? But generally, some situations may come where you may have a doubt about it. Tomorrow, should I fast? Should I not fast? So if those things happens, affirm yourself that yes, I'm fasting, right? I'm going to be fasting tomorrow. Okay. by its technicality, you don't have to say anything. You just have to know that you are fasting, right? And obviously in Ramadan, it will be the fast of Ramadan, right? So it's not like you are being sought to think like, oh, I'm going to fast for Ramadan of 2023 and this. No, right? But still, Fuqaha have adopted the practice that niyyah is something before an ibadah that we must always remind ourselves. And for this, they gave the statements which we make our children memorize them. Right? Why? So that they, at least by verbally pronouncing it, they will have conscious of what they are about to fast for. So the one that has been mentioned, some of the Shawafi have mentioned this as a mustahab, that you have to do it like this, and they actually do make children memorize according to their fiqh. Right? But if we do it, it's good. Right? It doesn't need to be done. It's good. وَبِصَوْمِ غَدٍ نَوَيْتُ مِنْ شَهْرِ رَمَضَانِ. Okay. If someone wants to question it, how ghadin is being used, you can come ask me about the Arabic of it. Inshallah, we can talk about it. Why ghadin is being used when you are making the intention on the same day, right? So inshallah. But this is what it is. General recommendation is still word it out, so you are mentally conscious what you are about to fast for. After your intention is done, obviously you're going to fill your stomach up, right, for the suhoor. So keep in mind, suhoor, it's with su, right, not sa. Okay, sahur is the food itself. Suhoor is the act of eating the sahur, right, and that is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, which means it is something really significant for you to actually wake up specifically to partake that sunnah, right? So it is mustahab to delay this sahur as long as you can. Meaning, check your jadwal, check your timetable and everything. They will most of the timetables are all automatically going to have the imsak within there. Imsak means to stop slightly before the entry time, just so that you don't eat into the fast itself, right? So some of them, they say 10 minutes imsak, 5 minutes is sufficient. You can keep on eating until then, as long as you are sure that you are not going to be overpowered by the wonderful food that you are eating, that you keep on eating even afterwards, right? Oh no, I'm just cleaning the dastar, but your mouth is going like chew chew chew, right? So if you are one of them, then 10-minute imsak. Okay, but otherwise 5 minutes is enough. You would have swallowed it by the time it finishes, inshallah. Okay, right. It is makruh to keep eating till so late that one gets a waswasa whether he kept on eating after the fast began, the siyam time began, right? Because you put yourself in the doubt yourself. So make sure, hold it back, right? Fasting without the suhoor is valid. In Pakistan we used to call it atpera, right? For the 8 pahars. Okay, so you're fasting for the whole day without any food. Mashallah, you're a man, right? But yeah, your wudu, your fast is valid, but you have lost out the rewards of the sunnah. So you're not better than the one who actually ate from the suhoor, right? So do partake from the suhoor. One thing I'll mention over here before we go away from the suhoor, it's a very common that Ramadan starts. Many people they remember their Ramadan because of their iftar parties. Okay, right? Inviting people or having iftar is not a bad thing. Feeding somebody else to make them break their fast is wonderful, right? But at the same time, sometimes invite people for their suhoor as well, right? That has the same significance too, to feed them so that they gain the nourishment of all day of ibadah and everything for that fast, right? Why wouldn't that have any significance? So sometimes invite for that as well. I still remember I was in Toronto when Mulana, I was there for only a couple of days, and Mulana invited me for the suhoor. Right, not for the iftar, for the suhoor, and this should be more common. People who want to be intimate with their own friends and everything, call them for suhoor purposes, and then together go for your fajr salah or something like that. Right, that's wonderful. Right. Before we talk about some of the other aspects of fast, there are common misconceptions or common things which do not break the fast. Right. Let's first get them out of the way. Right. So that it will help you, even if you later on you start to wonder like, oh, how is this not doing? How is this breaking the fast? How is that breaking the fast? At least these ones you will know they don't break the fast. Okay, eating, drinking, or having conjugal relationship, important thing, forgetfully. Okay, don't take half the sentence. Right? Oh, Mufti Sahib said eating, drinking, no problem. This time Ramadan is going to be chill. Right? Forgetfully. When you don't remember that you are fasting. Right? And in that case, Allah is feeding you. Allah is giving you water. So, alhamdulillah, no problem. Your fast did not break. Right? But when you know about it, you're conscious about it, that the fast will break. Okay? Right. Number two, for those who are adult, right? Climaxing or having ejaculation not caused by any kind of stimulation. This is important because people who have just become baligh, they may not know about this. Right? So please, if you are in that category, know this. Many of us may be old and may not know about this as well. Right? So where you touch or you have masturbation or anything like that, these are sinful activities. Right? Sinful activities. But they when you engage into them, if you ejaculate, the fast will break. But out of that, it just so happened that you had some release, that's not going to break the fast. Right? Without any shahwa, without any enticing or anything, it's not going to. Similarly, the night and nocturnal dream, that's not going to break the fast. Very important. Lot of questions comes about it, that from the youngsters mainly, that madhi is when you get excited, you get sexually aroused or something, and you start to have some liquid coming out. Right? That's not the sperm. Right? So your fast doesn't break with it. Fast doesn't break with it. Many times you'll be surprised, we received questions about it, that, oh, this happened and then I started eating because I thought my fast had broken. No, it didn't break because of that, but you eating, that it broke because of that. Right? So be mindful of that. Similarly, applying oil, massage on the body, right? Wicks or anything like that, that is not going to be, or any other kind of balms, that is not going to break the fast. Okay. Now they say Vicks is what? Vapor up, right? But it's not really vapors. We know it's fumes, right? It's not actual. There is no aerosol vapors or anything like that in it. Okay. So we will talk about that later on, when there are actually a substantial body with vapors and everything. Vicks does not have that body within it. It's just fumes. Similarly, applying kohol, surma, antimony in your eyes. Right? Sometimes you apply it and you can still feel a little bit of the bitterness in your throat as well. Right? The fast is not broken. It's not broken, right? So apply the summa, no problem. Be beautiful. Okay. Right? Cupping and blood test. Getting the cupped or the blood test, it does not break the fast. However, it will be makruh, however. Why? Because by getting the cupping done or getting the blood drained in the daytime, you may put yourself in a danger of becoming weak and not being able to carry on with the fast. Right? So it will not break the fast though. Right? It will not break the fast. If it is done, fine, no problem. If you know you can still muster on and everything, you can get it done. Backbiting, right? And this is not literal, don't bite anybody's back. Okay? It does not break the fast. Because the reason we have to say that is because some of the hadiths, they mention it is eating the flesh of your brother. So, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioning that the fast is lost. It simply means you have lost all the rewards of the fast. Right? Because it doesn't technically have anything that you have consumed for your stomach. Right? So it doesn't break the fast, but all the rewards, 14-15 hours of your struggle and everything, and you lose all the rewards. Why would you want to do that? You might as well stay silent in that fast. Right? And don't adopt it as a policy, but stay silent rather than making gupshup where it might be possible to actually backbite somebody. Adopt a company that doesn't do that. That's better, right? Adopt a company that does not backbite, that does not gossip, that does not talk about worldly things, right? Rather sit in a company that only talks about deen, right? And encourages you to make use of your fasting and everything. Similarly, smoke, not smoking, smoke, okay? Smoke, dust, or a fly that enters into your throat unintentionally. This is important. Unintentionally. Intentionally taking in the fly, okay, your fast will break. Okay. Similarly, intentionally putting up the agarbatti or incense or something like that and smelling it, that's going to break the fast. Right? Intentionally glade spray, all that is going to break the fast. Right? This is unintentional. This is unintentional. So, you didn't do it. Somebody else had sprayed it, and you just walked by. You're smelling it. Oh no, it's something. You didn't. You couldn't stop yourself from it, right? So it's unintentional. That is not going to break the fast. Okay. As for smoking itself, smoking cigarettes, that does break the fast. Not only does it break the fast, it is heavier form of breaking the fast. You will have to give kaffarah on it as well, right? So be very careful. Use the Ramadan to throw away the habit of smoking. Something that will come later on in the slide, nicotine patches don't break the fast, right? So use Ramadan, put the nicotine patch and ditch the smoking once and for all, so you don't have to do this kind of thing anymore. Keep in mind, a person who casually smokes and then comes to the masjid, makruh. Salah is makruh, because you are coming with the smell, right? You're bringing smell. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam banned somebody from coming into the masjid who had the smell of garlic on him, right? So smoking comes in the same thing. We may think like, oh, I am the one who smoke, I don't feel any kind of smell or anything. Ask the people around, they get headaches, right? Because it's a foul smell. We have just gotten used to it. Number 10, lingering taste of some food. What a biryani that was in the sahur, man. Right? If you're eating the biryanis and pulaus in the suhoor, try not to eat oily food, right? For our long fast and everything, it's very difficult, right? A lot of heartburn and everything. But it is, in some places, it is the mamul, right? The suhoor has to be pulao or something like that, right? So what a mazedar food that was, and throughout the day you're smelling that, right? Your mind is still going on. That doesn't break the fast, okay, right? And enjoy the smell if it's coming to you, okay? But it shouldn't be because you didn't brush your teeth, right? So make sure you brush your teeth as well. Waking up in the state of janaba, we already covered with that as well, right? Meaning you woke up and you were in the state of janaba that you need a ghusl, so that doesn't break the fast. If or for some instance, in the night time you enjoyed your company with your wife, and you got up and it's already now you missed the suhoor time, you are in the fast. That doesn't break the fast. The fast is still intact, right? So don't think like, oh, my fast is not valid, so start eating or something like that. Water entering the ear, taking a bath, water enters into the ear. This does not break the fast, right? Unless your ears are ruptured. There is a perforation, there is a breakage in your ear that actually water not only goes into your ear canal, rather it goes down into the brain cavity and everything. Sniffing back mucus, right? Always sniffing, right? It's your own mucus, it's from your own body. It doesn't break the fast. Not a good idea, but it still doesn't break the fast. Similarly, vomiting unintentionally, even if full mouth, right? It does not break the fast. Unintentionally is the main part. If it is intentional, then the ruling will change. Okay, swallowing back vomit unintentionally, even if full mouth. This normally happens like when you have the vomit and then you automatically take it back, and then you realize, oh no, it was something that was coming out and I'm taking it back in, right? So if this is for a vomit that's still in your mouth, okay, don't take it out and then take it back in, right? That's not swallowing back, right? That's like eating your own vomit. That will break the fast as well, right? Okay, eating hack is coming, right? Eating a small amount of food less than the size of chickpea, right? So in our teeth, how many teeth we have? 32, right? So we can make 32 holes and keep small 32 chickpeas, right? Eating small amount of food that was left over from your suhoor, right? It got stuck somewhere in the tooth or something like that, and later on, not knowing, if you know about it, take it out and throw it away, right? But if not knowingly you put your tongue there and it came out and you ate it, as long as it's less than the chickpea, fast is not broken. Right? That doesn't mean start putting in all the chickpeas and everything in the suhoor time, making sure I'm making zad for my my fast coming up ahead. Right? Similarly, using of miswak does not break the fast. Right? People think like it may, because as you do miswak, your saliva forms. Right? So you may think like, oh, you know, something is happening. No, it doesn't. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself used the miswak. It is encouraged to do the miswak. Right? So do the miswak, and it will keep your mouth clean as well, inshallah. Kissing one's spouse, that does not break the fast. Now this is talking about gentle kissing, pecking, you know, kissing on the lips or anything, but not going full on exchange of saliva or anything. If there is an exchange of saliva, then that will break the fast. Okay. Bleeding gums themselves do not break the fast. As long as they're bleeding and you're spitting them out, it doesn't break the fast. But the same bleeding gums, they come out and then you swallow it back into the throat, that will break the fast. Okay. Swallowing of the saliva even after gargling the mouth, it does not break the fast. Right. But I have to say, because I have received this question before. Right. It's a very icky kind of a thing to say, can I use my own saliva to quench my thirst? Right? I mean, and that I keep on making saliva so that I can swallow it just so that I'm satiated. I drank something, right? And it doesn't break the fast, but it does make your fast makruh. Right? Why are you doing something like that? Because that's not the purpose. You're not going to keep on sitting the entire time in your fast just making the saliva just you can swallow and everything, right? All right. Some acts that are indeed makruh acts in fasting, they are makruh, right? So, meaning they render the fast makruh, and you are deprived of the rewards of the fast. We don't want only hunger. We don't want from our fast, we don't want only the hunger and thirst and everything. We want rewards. That's the maqsad behind it. We want closeness of Allah. If we are losing out rewards, that means we are not getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So be mindful of the makruh things so that you do not do them. Right? Number one is to taste something. It could be toothpaste, it could be your food, right? What kind of iftar is coming? I'm not eating anything, I'm just merely tasting, right? So mere taste does not break the fast itself. But if the substance of the food actually goes down the throat, it's gone. Fast is gone. So you're putting yourself in danger. Similarly, the toothpaste itself, technically, if you are brushing yourself and the toothpaste foam is here and you throw it out, nothing went into the throat. The fast is not broken. But how will you account that something went down or not? It's a point of inevitability. Sometimes it's going to go down. So you have put yourself in the doubtful position where you don't even know whether your fast is now valid or not valid. So that is why it is makruh, right? So instead, use miswak, use empty toothbrush if you can use. There is nothing wrong with that. Chewing something flavorless gum, right? The entire day, just keep on jugali. What the animals do, like, you know, they keep on chewing, right? So again, just like continuously swallowing your own saliva, it defeats the purpose. It's a zaid activity that you are doing just so that you can bypass the feeling of not having to eat. That's the whole point. You are sacrificing to not eat. But you're chewing like a cow, so that you're now defeating the entire purpose over there. The fast itself in itself may not break, but it will be rendered makruh. You will lose out rewards for it, right? And the number 4 is what I was mentioned about the gathering one's own saliva and swallowing it. Number 5 is anything that weakens the body. Anything that weakens the body, right? Meaning, like for example, cupping or blood test or anything like that. Similarly, going for a jog, when you know that jog is going to weaken your body to such an extent, you will not be able to continue your fast. Or playing sports, right? Or doing any kind of such activity that pushes you to that limit, right? You are putting yourself in that position. If there is a need for it, then we understand. If there is no need for it, then there is no need to put yourself through it. And number 6, lying and backbiting, all these are such activities that completely burn away the rewards of your fasting, right? Which is why always avoid any kind of big company while you're fasting. And no need to have a lot of engagement or anything. Try to seclude yourself to yourself so that you don't fall into these kind of problems. Some things are not makruh, but we tend to think they are makruh, right? So keep those in mind as well. Gently kissing one's spouse, and where there is no transfer of saliva or anything, it's not makruh. You can do it, right? So don't let your spouse say like as soon as you come into Ramadan you completely, as if like you are sitting in a separate room or something, right? No, hugging or a peck on the cheek or anything like that's not makruh at all, right? So similarly, applying oil, again massage or something like that, not makruh at all. Applying kuhl, using miswak, rinsing mouth with water is not makruh. It's part of your wudu as well, right? You will be rinsing your mouth, but don't overdo it as well. You find out like, oh, the person is going to the washroom every like 5 minutes. I'm rinsing my mouth, I'm rinsing my nose, right? Or as the last one, bathing, right? 6 showers in one day, just so that the time passes by. I'm getting the breathe or coolness and everything. No, it is not makruh. You can take the shower if it's very hot or something like that. Take a small shower and 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and that's it. Go back to your ibadah and everything. But if you're going to start having lengthy showers and everything, you are defeating the purpose of the fast itself. Right now, one point I will do mention over here. Many of the mashayikh do recommend, if you find yourself that you start to engage yourself in backbiting or any kind of other watching YouTube or social media or this and that, and your entire fast is getting destroyed in those things, so might as well sleep, right? Rather than doing that, right? We go for the sleep, because in sleep at least you're not doing anything wrong, right? Even if the dreams are good, you're not doing anything wrong. You're marfu'ul kalam, right? So might as well sleep rather than do all those things. But the better and the more cautious and the more taqwa is that do casual ibadat, maybe tasbihat, recitation of Quran, do some reading or something like that, some kind of a positive aspect for deen. Continue that in your fasting. Break time? Continue? Alright. So now let's talk about the nullification of the fast. How the fast get nullified. There are 4 ways that fast can be nullified. Right? There are 4 ways a fast can be nullified. One is amad, meaning intentional, deliberate. Right? You actually carry out the action of breaking the fast. You eat, you drink or have intimacy with the spouse, but intentionally. The rule is that in this case you must make the qadha for it, and you must make the kaffarah for it. We're going to talk about what kaffarah is later on, right? Kaffarah means an expiation, a penalty for it, right? So if you actively, intentionally broke the fast by eating or drinking or with intimacy, then the kaffarah will have to be done, and the qadha for the fast has to be done, right? Now the kaffarah only applies with the Ramadan fasts, right? And that's what we are talking about. Number 2 is by mistake, by mistake you break the fast, right? While breaking the fast, you are conscious that you are fasting, but your own negligence caused you to break the fast, right? You were making the wudu and you were rinsing your mouth, right? And you said like, yeah, let me gargle as well, right? And suddenly came and the water went down. This is accidental, right? This is you're not going to say, oh, I couldn't stop it, right? You could stop it. Don't gargle, right? So in such accidental breaking of the fast, you are only qadha is wajib, no kaffarah is wajib. Okay. Third one is nisyan. Nisyan is forgetful breaking of the fast. Now, difference between forgetful and accidental is when the fast breaks, you don't remember you are fasting. right? You don't remember you are fasting and you ate something, right? Then in that case, neither qada nor kafara, right? The best way of your fast, you enjoy the food as well and you carry on. Ikrah, last one is ikrah. Ikrah means to be forced, right? And by force we mean that your health or your life has some jeopardy in it, right? Somebody literally has a stick on you or a gun on your head, eat, right? Now in this case, if you do end up eating, then one qada and no kafara. Okay, talking about qada and kafara, some other situations where this thing may happen. So places where only qada will be applied, eating something non-nutritious. One person would wonder, why would one actually eat something non-nutritious? But you will be surprised what kind of examples we have, right? Eating a pebble, right? Eating a pebble, eating cement, eating all these kind of different things. Eating paper, you're sitting in the class and just chewing paper and swallowing it, right? So or you're biting on your pencil and the eraser is going down, right? All these are non-nutritious things. You're not gaining anything out of it, but it's going down your throat. That's eating, right? So you, in this case, you only do the qada and no kafara. Okay, purposely vomiting the mouthful. You are feeling nauseous and everything, so you induce a vomit for yourself so that I can be out of it. This will constitute qada but no kafara. Okay, similarly, intentionally swallowing back that vomit as well, right? Let's enjoy that nauseous feeling again. So fast broke, qada, no kafara though. Okay, starting the fast in fainting condition but recovering during the day. Okay, you started the fast in the fainting position. So let's assume this is not fainting during the fast, by the way. Okay, if you faint during the fast, your fast is valid. It's going to go nicely, and you're going to eat. You may recover the after the iftar. So no problem, right? Your fast was done nicely. But the next day, let's say your fainting continued for the next day. So in the morning you went into the day in the form of fainting, right? Then in that case, when you come back into consciousness, that day's fast, you have to make qada for it. It didn't break or anything. It's simply you did not start the fast of it. So you're going to make the qada for it. Okay. Suppositories for bowel movement or something like that, if you use it, right, they are going to, because your anal passage is considered as a manfaz as well. It is a valid orifice of the body from which if you put the medication in, that is going to break your fast. Okay, but qada, no kafara, right? Ejaculation with excitement without actual intimacy, right? Ejaculation with excitement, meaning you didn't do anything, but you were just excited throughout the day, right, and ended up ejaculating, right? Now it could be for any reason, right? Maybe your wife is too beautiful. Okay. So whatever the reason may be, qada will be there but no kafara. Okay. Inhaling bukhur, incense with body or smoke. Again, this is intentional, as we spoke about it. Unintentional inhaling of these is not going to break the fast. Once you figure out that there is some bukhur or incense in some place, move away from there. Don't say like, oh, Mufti Sahib said unintentionally, right? So now I smell it, now you sit down over there. That's intentional. Okay, so move away from there. Inshallah, your fast will remain good. But if you do inhale some smoke or something, then your fast will break and you will have to make qada for it. Now this is important. Smoking cigarette knowingly while not considering it to be non-nutritious. Okay, let's unpack that. Smoking, some people consider cigarettes to be nutritious, that they help in digestion, they help in mental focus and things like that. For those individuals, the qada will be wajib and kafara will be wajib if they smoke. For those who genuinely in their heart, right, again, as I said, these are the matters you stand before Allah right? If they know that they don't consider cigarette to be nutritious, they know it's an abas thing, it's a useless thing, I'm just puffing air and everything, then in that case it's qada but no kafara, because the kafara is attached to nutrition. Okay, so as long as you have the belief that you are taking something nutritious, you'll have to do kafara for it as well. Now, contemporary fuqaha have mentioned under this that you can translate this into non-addict and addict. If someone is a chain smoker, he is an addict of the smoking, then for him the kafara will be wajib, which makes sense because we want him to leave the smoking, right? So kafara will be wajib for him. But if he is a non-addict, right, then in that case, if he smoked, then it will be qada but no kafara. Right. Now these were where the qada is there and no kafara. There are other situations as well. We can't go on all of them right now. Let's look at some of the situations where the qada is going to be wajib as well as the kafara is going to be wajib. Having intimacy with one's spouse deliberately, regardless of climaxing or not. Right. You actually went and have the cohabitation, actual cohabitation, but you did not climax. Right, so still because of the cohabitation, actually doing jima, your fast broke because you did it intentionally. There is a kafara for it as well. Right, eating something of nutrition intentionally, drinking something of nutrition intentionally, all these are going to bring about qada as well as kafara. Deliberately swallowing raindrops or snow in our case. Right, it's snowing and you start like let's taste it. So you also are going to, you deliberately brought in water and then you swallowed it. Right, it's drinking. Okay, so it's going to be qada as well as kafara. Okay, so leave all the enjoyment of the snow in the winter time right now. Okay, smoking knowingly. Now this is just reiteration of the previous one for the person who is addicted to it or who considers it to be nutritious. Okay, what is this kafara though? What is a kafara? Kafara is that you have to free a slave. But find a slave, go. Right? Unfortunately, we don't have slaves, right? Or fortunately, we don't have slaves. Okay, so we have to go to the next best thing, and that is, if you are unable to do so, then you have to fast 2 months consecutively. 2 consecutive months you have to fast, right? Excluding the days of Eid and Tashriq. But if you are not able to fast that as well, right? Like a person who could not control his beautiful wife and he made jima, he made cohabitation. Now you tell him to fast for 2 consecutive months. So like, I couldn't do that one fast. You want me to do 60 days, right? So if the person genuinely knows he won't be able to do it, then in that case, if physically unable to do so, extreme old age or extreme bad health, then feed 60 poor people 2 meals in one day. 60 poor people 2 meals in one day. You can also give it to on 2 separate days. It is also permissible to feed one poor person for 60 days. Right, whichever ones you can do, that will be the kafara for your fast. Now the succession is however important, right? So you should make sure one kafara suffices for multiple violations. So if you 1 month of Ramadan, there were 3 days that you broke your fast. Okay, you intentionally broke the fast, then and you have to do the kafara. Only one kafara will suffice, right? But if the violations, if the breaking of the fast is in 2 different Ramadans, right, then 2 different kafaras have to be given. Okay, right. At any time, if kafara has already been done, then it will not suffice for future, right? It mustn't happen that first of the Ramadan you break the fast, right, and then you do the kafara. Now for you are thinking you are scot free for the remaining days of the Ramadan. I can break one more too. Right, I already gave the kafara. No, once the kafara is given, now the cycle starts again. You break the fast, you have to do the kafara again. Okay. Some contemporary medical issues that we should be aware of. Some things don't invalidate the fast, something invalidate the fast. Blood tests do not invalidate the fast. If one feels he may become weak, then it will become makruh. Eye drops, just like kohol, it does not break the fast. Right, even if you feel its effect in your throat. Lumbar puncture, they put a needle in your back, right, to take out the fluid, does not break the fast. Tissue biopsy, they have to take out the tissue, it doesn't break out the fast, right, unless the procedure involves the respiratory tract. They have to take in the biopsy from your respiratory tract. So what will happen is they are putting something in the throat. So that putting something in the throat is going to be some equipment, and that is going to be non-nutritious thing that going down is going to break the fast, right? No kaffarah over there though. Okay, ear drops do not break the fast except if your ear canal is ruptured, it's broken, and it seeps into your brain activity, then it will break. Okay, so for anyone who has this perforated ear canals, they would know, because it pains, and you would have been going to the ENT doctor for it anyway, right? Insulin injections, they do not break the fast, right, even if it is being injected into the stomach, because it's not really injected directly into the stomach, it is injected into the upper layer of the stomach, right? That is not going into the stomach itself, which also means injection or blood transfusion or kidney dialysis or glucose or saline drip, all of these don't invalidate the fast. Why? Because they are not eating, you're not drinking them, they are being put into the body through veins, right, and they don't reach the stomach in the same way that you understand, that normally food reaches. But at the same time, do not be deceived or do not be delusional that, oh, I'm going to get the glucose drip put in. That's going to defeat the purpose, right? Mashallah, everybody is forcing the hunger, and this fellow is nicely enjoying with the push of glucose every single day, right? No, don't defeat the purpose of the fast, right? That will definitely be makruh. Concentrated oxygen, right? To inhale concentrated oxygen. Oxygen is simply a gas, and that is available, so it does not break the fast, right? However, what will break the fast is will come in the next column, that will have some substance within it. Oral medication that is swallowed, any oral medication that is swallowed is going to break the fast. Or it is kept inside the mouth, you don't swallow it, rather sometimes they say put it in your mouth on the side and let it dissolve on its own. That will still go down your throat and it will break the fast as well. Inhalers, asthma inhalers and everything, they do break the fast. This is because the medicine within them have substance to it. They are not fumes only, rather they have aerosol or they have body to it, and that is going down your throat. Okay. However, in these cases, these are medications. Medications only qadha is wajib, not kaffarah. Okay. Endoscopy, due to the lubricant being added to put the instrument inserted into your anal canal, right? That's going to break the fast. Nebulizer, normally they give for easy breathing passage and everything. Keep in mind, if it is only a simple air treatment, no humidifier or anything like that. If it's a simple air treatment that they increase the concentration of oxygen for it, so you have easy breathing rather than very dense breathing, then it will not break the fast. But if it has a humidifier within it, which normally they use to give soothness to your throat, right, and your lungs and everything, so that humidity is going to break the fast, right? So again, qaza, not kaffarah. Sleep apnea with humidifier is the same thing as the nebulizer, right? Any kind of vaginal suppository and medication will also be included in that. They will break the fast. Okay. Now approaching the iftar time, alhamdulillah, right? After you have done all the difficulties and everything, approaching the iftar time, dua at the approach of iftar time for a sa'im, when he is in the condition of fasting and he's reaching that last moment before the maghrib salah. That is very, very important time. It is not a time for gupshup, it is not a time for chit chat or anything like that. It is a time for you to make use of the fast that you have done, right? So take out your hands, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask for whatever you can desire, because you have exerted for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's sake. So do not waste those precious moments of the Ramadan. Every single day those moments are precious. So and sometimes people say that in order to make it easy, let's do a communal dua at that time. No, that time is your precious personal time. Don't do communal du'as at that time. Rather do your own dua. What you internally desire from Allah. You exerted, you pressed yourself and struggled for sake of Allah. So now you can ask for Allah what you want. Right? And Allah is listening to every single saim at that time. So at that time, start asking blessings for your parents who have passed by, and start asking for rahmah for the family and the children that you already have, for your brothers, for your parents, for your teachers, and especially for Faisal al-Mahmudi. Ask for him as well. May Allah give him something good as well, right? Maghfirah and everything. नाम याद रख लेना फैसल, भूल जाएंगे. हाँ. Then wait for the adhan to be called at the time of iftar. Don't be hasty. Don't go by the clock. No. Once you're in the masjid, go by the muazzin. The muazzin is being assigned that he will give the adhan. Okay, that will save your fast, by the way, because muazzin is given the dispensation of eating before he gives the adhan. Right? So he will eat one morsel and then he will give the azan. That will give you a small buffer period that your fast will never be broken before the azan. Right? So it will always be in the time of that. So wait for the muazzin, listen to the azan, and put in your mind that this is how the Sahaba used to break fast as well. They would be listening for the azan of the Sahabi and then they would break the fast. Right? You will feel that this is now more important instead of, oh, time is already over. Right? It removes away that essence of following the Sahaba and the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. Once the adhan is given, hasten to fast. Don't wait. Right? Now adhan is given, eat. Right? Eat your. It is better to start with the tamar. Okay. If you don't have tamar, then you can eat something else, maybe water. Okay. And some say like, start with the salt, but that narration about salt is with regards to regular foods, not with regards to the breaking of the fast, right? So if you don't have water, then start with whatever is available for you. You can start with that. Okay. In the iftar time, do not overfill yourself, because iftar is for you to break the fast and then go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Keep in mind, all our ibadat are like this, that when we have some kind of a taklif, we go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and thereafter once we are relieved from that taklif, we go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? It's always this way. So you broke the fast, now your fast is completed. Now go back to the salah, because Salat al-Maghrib is about to go on now. Right? So you're going to go there. At the time of breaking the fast, when you are breaking the fast, there are multiple du'as that have been mentioned. So when you are about to break it, you can say, Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu. This is from Sunan Abi Dawud. Okay, and we normally have the bigger one, but you can utilize these words. Allahumma laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu. Oh Allah, I fasted for you, and upon your rizq and sustenance, I am breaking this fast as well. Now you eat. Once the food goes down your throat and you drink a little bit, it quenches yourself. Then you say, ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر inshallah. Right? That all the hunger has gone, all the veins have been drenched now, they have been quenched, right? And the ajr, the reward for this fast for the whole day has been established, inshallah, if Allah wills. Right? This is what Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has done. So the two du'as, you can memorize them simultaneously. Okay. After that, obviously, you're going to approach the Taraweeh at night, right? Some contemporary times, nowadays we are becoming lazy about a lot of things with regards to Taraweeh. So keep in mind, Taraweeh is 20 rakats. There are, in fact, ahadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself performed 20 rakats. Right? Although they're not in the main Siyah Sitta, rather they require their additional studies and everything, but the narrations are there. Taraweeh sanctioned from the Khulafa Rashidin has been 20 rakats. Right? So Taraweeh is 20 rakats. If you want to fulfill the sunnah out of it, perform Taraweeh 20 rakats. If you are not performing in the masjid, make sure you perform it at home. Make sure you find a congregation elsewhere as well. Taraweeh should be in congregation. Taraweeh in congregation is a communal sunnah al-kifaya, meaning out of the entire community, some people have to make the congregation of the Taraweeh. If nobody makes congregation of Taraweeh, the entire community is going to be responsible and held liable for it. right? So then Taraweeh congregation in masjid is of a higher reward than a Taraweeh congregation elsewhere. However, many times what happens is masajid cannot accommodate for everyone, so you have to have congregations elsewhere, right? If that's the case, yes, have the congregations elsewhere as well. In your homes, if you can find huffaz to lead the Taraweeh, do that as well. Completion of the entire Quran in Taraweeh behind the Imam is a sunnah, right? So while you are doing your 20 rakats, you are doing in the masjid behind the Imam, make sure find the Imam who is doing the completion of the entire Quran as well, right? It is the sunnah, and it's a sunnah in the way Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to recite the entire Quran to Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam once every Ramadan, and the last year he recited it twice. Which means if somebody wants to establish his last habit, it was completing 2 khatams, right? But our huffaz are going to become really tired if they have to do 2 khatams, right? So Taraweeh should be in hadar. Now this hadar, mashayikh who have to lead, they know. Taraweeh should be in hadar, meaning in a fast pace. However, the hadar requirement of hadar is that it should fulfill the tajweed rules, right? Not that you don't even realize what the words are. No. Okay, have to know what the words are. All the ahkam of the tajweed are being done properly. And it's not that difficult. It doesn't take that long. You can recite the Quran nicely with a quick pace, and you will still finish the entire Quran properly and nicely without trouble. Okay. Finally, i'tikaf. Okay, some of you will be blessed to sit for i'tikaf. However, there are requirements for it, there are rules for it. I'm not going to go over detailed rules of i'tikaf over here for you, but your local imam or wherever the i'tikaf is being done should be under supervision of a scholar who should inform and tell everybody what the rules of i'tikaf are. It is performed in the last 10 days of Ramadan. The time will start from the completion, meaning end of the 20th day. That is the Maghrib of the 21st day. I've seen many people make a mistake on this, and they come later on after Maghrib or near Isha for Taraweeh, and they say like, oh, we're coming and sitting for i'tikaf. No, it's too late. You are supposed to come before the Maghrib on the 20th. Right, 20th day, so that your 21st Maghrib is the first Salah of the day. That would be in i'tikaf, right? That's when the i'tikaf starts. If the mu'takif, one who's sitting for i'tikaf, does not come into the masjid before the end of the 20th day, his masnoon i'tikaf will be gone. He can now sit for nafal i'tikafs, right? He can sit for, and nafal i'tikaf you should be doing every day. A few moments, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, Maghrib to Isha, all these times, have the intention for i'tikaf in the masjid. At least you will be written among the mu'takifin, inshallah. Okay. Keep in mind, i'tikaf for men must be in a shar'i masjid, right? So i'tikaf cannot be done in a rented out musalla. I'tikaf cannot be done in Islamic centers that have not been sanctioned as masjids. Right, so even in those centers, those who have masjid status and everything, they must have demarcated a place for the masjid area. I'tikaf will be done within that, right? I have come across a lot of times where people do not know of these demarcations, and while they are making i'tikaf, they come in asking like, oh, where are the boundaries? And when you ask the admins, even they don't know. Everything is a masjid. So then you ask them, even the toilet is the masjid? No, toilet is not the masjid. So something is excluded. So you need to know what the boundaries are, right? So all those things have to be understood and recognized. Many of our places are actually musallas, right? When they are musallas, sunnah i'tikaf cannot be done in them, right? So because the sunnah i'tikaf cannot be done in them, there is only one dispensation that has been mentioned in the Fatawa book, and I believe it's in the Khairul Fatawa, or Fatawa Rahimiyya, I believe. Fatawa Rahimiyya, I think, mentions, Mufti Ebrahim Desai, he has mentioned that in a town where there is only one musalla, no masjid, right? If people sit for i'tikaf in there, then he says like, I'm hopeful that Allah will accept it. Right, but that doesn't mean now every musalla has to have i'tikaf. It was because they had the musalli, they have the people to pray and everything, but they only have the musalla. Okay, right. Itikaf for women is in their homes. Right, they will make their itikaf in their homes. They will seclude a place. Right, you can become the khadim for those 10 days and provide food and everything. Although they are given permission, they can get up and make the food if it is required. But you can be a little bit of an assistance if you are not sitting in itikaf. Go and help them and make food for those 10 days. Right, so they can also have the wonderful iftar from your hands. Itikaf has a complete set of its rules which should be taught by the local imams themselves. Okay. Final thing that I have before if we want to go over the Q&A, these are the indices that you should know for 2023. Your Sadaqatul Fitr, right? Sadaqatul Fitr is a minimum is $14, and but our recommendation is $55. Right? If you want to learn how that is calculated, all the detail is mentioned there, but you can reach me separately and I will explain all the two. This is important with regards to your fasting because of the Fidya. Because of the Fidya. If someone is terminally ill, he knows that he will not be able to fast. Right? He just cannot. So in that case, he will have to give out the Fidya, and he will have to give it out from here. Now when you are giving out the Fidya, when you are terminally ill, what basically you are doing is you are pleasing Allah with a monetary Sadaqah. Right? That, oh Allah, forgive me for my fard that I have not fulfilled. So are you going to give little bit of money to take ransom? Right? Somebody held you as a hostage. So are you going to tell him, okay, I can give you $55, but let me give you only $14. Free me. Do you think the person is going to free you? So when you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you forgiveness for not performing your fard, give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more. So it will be $55 for every single day that you have not fasted. Okay. Let's stop over here. Inshallah, if there are Q&A, you can delay the Isha today for a little while, just so that your questions can be answered, inshallah. Okay. Jabdram.
When you're making a ghusl in the morning while you're fasting, when you're cleaning your nose, the water all the way in, is that
you don't take it all the way in. You take it only to the soft place, not to the top. So don't sniff it all the way. Okay. Put the water in and clean it like that. Same goes for your mouth. Rinse. No gargles. Yes. Yes.
Is it talking about the Muslims that were before or pre-Muhammad?
Previous ummahs. Every ummah has had a form of fasting.
good question? People that sleep apnea, they use a CPAP.
Same thing as nebulizer. If you are using the CPAP with some medication or with humidifier, then it will break the fast. But if you are only using, there are some CPAPs that only blow the air to allow you a little bit extra air so that you can breathe.
You use water.
That will invalidate the fast, because that water converts to water vapor that goes in your.
Regarding Taraweeh, some people are working in an environment where there's nobody who is a Muslim, but they get an opportunity to pray at their own. We can pray our own Taraweeh.
If you will be, inshallah, looked at what you can manage. Since you don't have anyone, Allah knows your condition much better than you. Your work has to be done as well. So you fulfilling the duty of Taraweeh on your own, that is good enough as well. Inshallah, right? So, but the days when you don't have the job, find a congregation.
Should we keep a fasting when we're traveling by air? Special west to east. Time is, the change. Where we wanna.
When you're going to go from west to east, your day is going to pass like this.
Yeah.
So you should. Why shouldn't you?
Okay.
That's a freebie that Allah is giving you.
We don't know on the air where is the sunset.
You can actually ask them that exact time when the sunset happens, and they will tell you. Yeah.
Actually, there is an app, Halal Trip.
Yeah, there are actually multiple apps. Personally, I have not found them to be completely accurate, but they are there at least. Yeah, close enough, inshallah.
It is better idea.
Okay, mashallah.
Okay. Ji.
There's
biting your nails and accidentally eating it, is that qadha? Or
Qadha, no kafara. Okay, because nails are not nutritious, and you should not bite nails. Anything else, inshallah?